Hi there, my name is James Heidema. Today, part 2 of the first interview. So in the previous interview, we talked about the importance of laying the foundation. In my case, telling a story that tells the customer about how we're going to behave in the marketplace. So that was part 1. Today we're going to talk about part 2, the gap analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to role play with you. You as the viewer are the customer and I'm the financial advisor, and I'm going to walk you through a process. And I'm going to assume I've asked you questions and you can answer questions and I'll write them down. Obviously, in this environment, you can't directly respond to my questions, but I'll assume that you're responding correctly. Okay? So, we've finished the story about choices and dignity. They're important to you. All right, now I'm going to move on to talk about the gap analysis. The gap analysis is a tool that helps you and I understand where you are today and where you'd like to be in the future. If we find there's a gap between where you are and where you'd like to be, somewhere in there, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you if you want to do something about the gap. I'm going to get you to verbalize what you view the gap to be, and we'll set a subsequent meeting where we'll address the gap and look at possible recommendations to give you the solutions that you're looking for. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're into the role play. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a simple little tool that is the gap analysis, and I'm going to use that throughout the process to record the conversation that we have. Is that okay? Fine. Okay. So first and foremost, we're going to look at your current situation, and then later we're going to look at your desired situation. So CS and DS. Okay. Current situation. So tell me about you and your family. You're in a relationship. Let's pretend that your name is Gina and you're in a relationship with Aruna. Okay, so how long have you and Aruna been together? Well, for 4 years now. Okay, yeah. Any children? Yeah, we've got one child, one little girl. Okay, and how old is she? She's 2. Oh, wonderful! It's a wonderful age, isn't it? 2 years of age. Okay, and Aruna, what does he do? Oh, he works in a bank. Okay, all right. And yourself, what are you doing right now? Oh, you're a travel agent. Okay, Gina, you're a travel agent. Okay. Let's get into some financial issues right now. What would be your monthly family income from the two of you? Okay, so 2,000 euros or $2,000. And okay, all right. And have you ever met with a financial advisor before? Oh, you did? Okay, all right. And did that person make some recommendations? Yes, they did. Oh, good. Okay, and did you choose to act on those recommendations? Oh, you didn't. Okay, so can you tell me why you didn't? Oh, I see. They were asking for too much money. Okay, what else? Oh, they didn't really understand their situation. They appeared to be pushing a product. Well, you know, from my point of view, a product is nothing more than a solution to a need uncovered in a planning process. So we're not anywhere near the point of talking about any kind of product. What we're going to do is I'm going to do my job and really understand your situation. So just write that down. You have Matt. Okay, and product pusher. Okay, and little understanding. Would that be appropriate if I worded that way? Little understanding and a product pusher? Great, okay. Well, I don't plan to behave that way. And if you find that I am, then catch me, okay? Okay. All right. Okay, so have you been able to save or invest in anything right now? Oh, I see. You're putting aside 30 euros a month or $30 towards savings. Okay. Are you saving for something in particular? Oh, you'd like to own a house. So I assume you're renting right now, right? Okay. All right. Do you have any level of insurance at this point? No, no level of insurance. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your desired situation. You know, well, what sort of things do you have in the future? Okay. Well, obviously, you want to own a home, right? Okay. Okay. What else? Oh, you want to visit to South Africa. Really? Why South Africa? Oh, you've got a friend down there and they speak highly of it. Okay. Okay. Do you plan to do this at any time in the future? Well, maybe when the child's a little older. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. Now, my job as a financial advisor is to do with the what ifs. You know, the first what if we have is that, you know, both of you are raising your daughter. She's 2 years of age. Obviously, you have a responsibility and an obligation at least for the next 15, 20 years. So she'll be under your care and attention. You have a lifestyle based upon 2,000 euros. If something, God forbid, were to happen to either of you and that income was cut in half, would that have an effect on your lifestyle? Well, of course it would. So that's the first what if. What if we die too soon? Again, I don't ever want that to happen to anybody that I'm meeting with, but that certainly is an issue. And that's why people buy insurance, especially people in a relationship with a child, is that it becomes very important to them to take care of that. You know, obviously you love each other and you want your partner to carry on taking care of your daughter and at the same time move towards the goals you've set. Is that true? Yeah, I'm sure you feel that way about each other. Okay, and the next is what if your income's interrupted? Okay, you know, and one of the things that can interrupt an income is we could get an illness, we could have an accident and take us out of the workforce for a period of time. If that were to happen to either of you, would that have an effect on your ability to carry on the lifestyle that you have right now? Yeah, of course it would. Yeah. So, and I know you've probably at work, you've got some sort of coverage. We need to look at that and see how far that goes. Because, you know, have you ever driven by a hospital? Yeah, of course. Are they empty or full? They're full. Of course they're full. So we don't know how long an illness, an accident may last. And that certainly has an effect on your ability to generate an income. So that's another what if. The final what if I want to talk about is the need for money. Okay? You know, you're going to need money throughout your life for 3 reasons. You're going to need money for emergencies. The car breaks down, the fridge doesn't work. Oh, really? So the car has broken down. And of course, now you got to come up with the money for that, right? Either you borrow it or you take it out of your reserves or you don't do it. And so obviously, I mean, it happened to me recently. My car broke down and it cost me 400 euros to get it repaired. But it's just the way it is. That's an emergency. I don't have any control of that. You also need money for an emergency such as your income being interrupted. You know, that for whatever reason you're unable to work, illness, accident, whatever, you need either protection for that or a source of capital for that. So that's an emergency. Next is opportunity. You've already told me a couple of opportunities you want. One is you want to own your own home. That's an opportunity expense. You want to go on a trip to South Africa? That's an opportunity. Maybe at some point you want to replace a vehicle? That's an opportunity expense. That's where you want to take advantage of an opportunity. You want to move towards a specific goal. And the final reason you need money, at some point, both of you will decide you don't want to work as hard as you're working today. You might want to slow down or indeed quit working. And you need capital enough to sort of carry on generating an income when you don't have that income. So those are the reasons, the 3 reasons we need money. First, for emergencies. second for opportunity, and third for retirement. Okay? So we've talked about your current situation, what you have in place from a savings point of view, that you don't have insurance, whatever. And we talked about the desired situation. Now, when you consider those two things, you know, do you see there's a gap between where you are and where you'd like to be? Do you see that? Yeah. Yeah, I see it too. So you've actually seen, I've written down everything you've said so far about your current situation, your desired situation, and now we're going to look at the gap. So yes, I agree with you. You do have a gap. So can you tell me what you think the gap is? Okay, first, life insurance, okay? Yeah, that you do want to take care of your daughter and you want to take care of your partner. Marvelous, okay? All right, and what else? Well, capital, build capital. We need to build capital as quickly as we can. Okay? Anything else? No, that's about it. Okay, so life insurance is build capital. So again, I've written down those two things, life insurance and build capital. All right? Okay, so typically when people address these situations, they take 5 to 7% of their income and they use that as a starting point. So in your case, 5 to 7 of yours is about 125 euros. Okay? Let's say just as a number. So for sake of argument, I've written on here 125 euros. I'm not going to commit you to that amount. I just want to use it as an example. Is that okay if I use it as an example? Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set a second appointment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information away. I'm going to go out there and see how we might address this situation. And I'm going to come back in the next meeting. This is what's going to happen in the next meeting, okay? In the next meeting, we're going to review this again, review this gap analysis to make sure that I've captured the information. I'm going to get you to read through what I've written down and make sure that I've correctly recorded your feelings and thoughts. I will ask you again, do you still see a gap? If you still see a gap, then I'm going to say, okay, this is what you said about the gap last time. Did I record it correctly? And we'll look at that and you're going to say, yes, that's that, or you're going to change it however you wish to change it. And then we're going to take that 125 euros, $125, and what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, what can we do with that? Well, how can we move it in different directions to begin to address this? And then you begin to see how it begins to address your gap. Okay? I will make a recommendation. You'll decide whether the timing is right, whether you can afford it, whatever the issue is. If we proceed, we'll do the paperwork and we'll put the plan in place. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Great. Okay, now, one more thing I want to talk about before we end this meeting. I want to ask you, do you feel that you've got some value out of this meeting? Oh, you did. Great. Can you tell me what value you've got? And you say, well, I better understand my situation. I understand how important it is to plan for the future. I realize that I will need capital. I realize that I need to protect myself and my partner. And you say, okay, great. So, and how have I treated you in that process? Well, you've been very professional. You really have a good understanding of our situation. I don't feel like you're pushing us to make a sale. Okay, great. That's very helpful. So it's probably fair to say I didn't act like this other individual who pushed a product and really didn't understand you. No, you're not anything like that. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you for that feedback. Now here's the question. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you and I could work together to bring this value to people you care about, your family, your friends, your associates, your acquaintances, people that you care about? Would it be a good thing if you and I worked together to bring that value to them? Well, yes, thank you. That would be a good thing. Well, I don't want you to do anything with that information today. Don't want you to build a list. I don't want you to think any more about it. But at the end of the second meeting, we will have that conversation, how you and I can work together to bring value to the people you care about. Is that okay? Great. Okay, I look forward to meeting you next Tuesday at 8 o'clock your time. And we'll have another Zoom meeting and we'll carry on from there. If there's any issue with that meeting, please give me a buzz and we'll reschedule. But it should be clear to you what we're going to do in the next meeting, that it's going to be all about you. It's all about you taking care of the people you care about and putting yourself in the best financial position. Does that make sense to you? Great. Okay, step out of the role play. Now let's just talk about what happened there, okay? First and foremost is by asking the right questions and building the gap analysis. What you do is you've captured on paper exactly what they've said. I've checked with them all the way along through it to make sure I've written down everything. I've built this, I have a good understanding of this couple's reality and their child and what they've done so far. I've talked about what they're going to do in the future, the things that are important to them, and then we've looked at the gap. And I've made sure, and I've also got a euro commitment, which is really, really critical. And in our next part 3, we'll talk about how do we bring this all back together again. Review the gap, how do we position the product, and how do we ask them to take action. Hopefully that's of value to you. Okay? Thanks very much for viewing today. I look forward to sharing part 3 with you. Bye for now.